Deadly drone strikes, intense battles along the front lines, and diplomatic moves from Washington to Berlin to Moscow. Just when it seemed the Russia-Ukraine war might be nearing a resolution, it has now entered a new, more volatile phase. And now, Russian President Vladimir Putin is demanding written guarantees from the West to stop NATO expansion eastward and ease sanctions on Russia as a part of any peace deal with Ukraine. According to Reuters, Putin also wants Ukraine to remain neutral and for frozen Russian assets in the West to be addressed. These are his demands if peace talks are to continue. That's from the Russian side as of now. Well, earlier, U.S. President Donald Trump, who has been pushing for an end to the war, warned the Russian leader is playing with fire by refusing to talk ceasefire. Putin claims he's working on a peace proposal but will not accept any deal that does not meet Russia's core demands. And what does Ukraine say in all of this? It insists NATO membership must stay on the table and that it needs stronger Western security guarantees to deter future attacks. So both Russia and Ukraine are escalating tensions on multiple fronts, accusing each other of drone strikes. And now, Ukraine fears Russia is preparing for a summer offensive. Ukraine's emergency services say that one person was killed and 8 others were injured in a Russian drone attack overnight on settlements in Kharkiv. Firefighters were seen battling flames at a warehouse south of the regional capital. And while Kharkiv burns, Moscow faced its own attack. Russian officials say that their air defenses intercepted around 100 Ukrainian drones across multiple regions, including a swarm heading for Moscow. Other videos circulating on social media showed the aftermath in Zelenograd, which is Moscow's exclave. Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyan confirmed the attack on Zelenograd through Telegram.
Мы там стояли, как первый раз въебало, мы аж подпрыгнули. Это просто пиздец.
Well, active combat also continues along several points of the front line. Russia's defense ministry has accused Kiev of targeting civilian infrastructure inside Russia using Western-made drones and rockets. In retaliation, Moscow says it has launched cluster strikes on Ukrainian military depots, air bases and radar stations, even targeting foreign mercenary outposts. Meanwhile, Ukraine's general staff reported dozens of active battles with the most intense fighting in Pokrovsk. Ukrainian foreign minister claimed that Russia launched nearly 1,000 drones and missiles in the past 3 days, which he says is a proof that Moscow is not interested in any kind of peace. In Ukraine also, there's now growing concern about a possible new Russian offensive. Western media reports citing Ukrainian military officials and experts say that Russia is expected to launch a major offensive this summer, and that is in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region. And that would not be surprising. We say that because the capture of Donetsk in its entirety has been a priority for Putin since the war started in 2022. In September that year, Putin had declared the whole of Donetsk, along with 3 other Ukrainian regions, to be a part of the Russian Federation, accompanying the main push into Donetsk, of which Russia now controls about 70%. The Kremlin reportedly plans to carry out smaller attacks along the border of Ukraine's northeast Sumy and Kharkiv regions. Ukraine's National Guard has confirmed that Russia may be preparing new attacks in Kharkiv. Ukraine's Chief of Staff of the 13th Karthia Brigade said that Russian forces are trying to move closer to the contact line, but they have so far failed to carry out assaults. The result of all of this, what is happening on the battlefield? Well, more pressure on Ukraine's already overstretched frontline troops and an advantage to Russian troops. The warnings over the offensive has already begun, and they come as the US brokered peace process has limped along. Meetings so far have been inconclusive. Ukraine has called for a 30-day ceasefire, but Moscow, it seems, has certain non-negotiables for the temporary truce. Now, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky warns of a major Russian force amassing in Ukraine's northeast. Zelensky said that over 50,000 Russian troops, including elite units, have been positioned near Sumy, which is the region bordering Russia's Kursk. He believes the Kremlin aims to carve out a 10-kilometer buffer zone. While Moscow captured several border villages recently, Zelensky says that the Ukrainian forces pushed them back by 4 kilometers. That's near Kostyantynivka. Still, amid the fighting, Zelensky says that he remains open to any kind of peace talks, even a three-way meeting with US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Not just that, he also warned against the US leaving the Ukraine peace process, something which Washington has threatened if talks stall. The fate of Ukraine is also shaking European politics now. Recently, Germany and other European allies have lifted restrictions on the range of weapons being sent to Ukraine. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has voiced support for Ukraine's right to strike targets inside Russia, deep inside Russia. Of course, the Kremlin responded sharply. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova dismissed Merz's remarks as self-promotion and said that German weapons will not change the course of Russia's so-called special military operation. Even so, high-level dialogue continues. Zelensky arrived in Berlin today, where he met with Chancellor Merz, following up on a brief exchange in Kiev. Germany is not expected to announce new weapons, opting instead for what it calls strategic ambiguity. As far as Russia is concerned now, the Kremlin says the next round of direct talks with Ukraine will be announced soon. Speaking to reporters on Wednesday, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov asserted that the neutral status of Ukraine remains one of Russia's key demands in the peace negotiations.
Speaking about Ukraine's NATO membership, I will remind that the neutral, non-aligned, and nuclear-free status of Ukraine has been solemnly proclaimed in this country's Declaration of Independence adopted in 1991. This specific obligation, namely the proclamation of the neutral, non-aligned, and nuclear-free status, forever made it possible to recognize Ukraine as an independent state by the Russian Federation and all the other members of the international community.
For now, the question is, what form will the next round of Ukraine-Russia talks take? Or will they happen at all?